Welcome back in, everybody, to Running the Rift's coverage of the North American Challenger League Open Qualifiers, Spring Qualifier 2. Adam, we have ourselves a Game 5 on our hands. Castleberry taking on Phoenix 5. 17-seeded Phoenix 5, 19-seeded Castleberry. These teams were so close. And ultimately, the seeding committee got this one right because one of these teams is going to be moving on and the other one is going to have to wait for summer.
Yeah, and honestly, both of these teams, we were able to catch a Phoenix 5 game earlier. Top half of Harrisburg 2022-2023, I believe it was. Winning Special was still their coach there, with Basby and Dietro on the bottom side. On the opposite side, a lot of familiar names for the collegiate scene as well. Geiger, Castle, Nightstar, Barlow, and Aj is what we're going with in the mid lane there.
Sorry, Aj.
Sorry if that's not how we pronounce it, but we'll figure it out. Nonetheless, there's a lot of very, very strong players on both of these sides. A lot of collegiate names and faces, which works well because Running the Rift, of course, amateur and collegiate coverage at that. But looking at this draft as well, Yanni, we'll go through it really quickly here. We want to make sure we're getting this game up as soon as possible. Karma first pick answered with Hui Xin Zhao is kind of crazy.
Yeah, that is a really strong answer because Hui is able to just kind of sit back and chill out. And Karma, if you want to get any real lane pressure, you're going to have to get really creative with your angles. But Karma also kind of falls off the longer the game goes on, even this AP Karma. Meanwhile, Hui only gets stronger. I do like the response they had with Vi and Rakan. There is your hard engage, right? Like Phoenix 5 is like, okay, cool. We've got our supportive champion in Karma. We're going to go with our hard engage. And I do think they rounded out the rest of their comp nicely. I would have liked to see a top laner that would have brought a little bit more damage, but the only problem is because Udyr is open, right? You could risk giving away the Udyr. So I like the response pick of the Gnar into that.
Yeah, Gnar going to do well into the Udyr because instead of, as Shibi was saying last game, the Phoenix stance just sort of running you down at that, Gnar can play from zone and play back. Avoid any sort of confrontation on that top side until they go mega, in which case you've just got more stats. You stat check the Udyr there, who's normally seen as the stat stick, and Geiger can win that matchup. So I'm curious to see how that top lane matchup works and to see if Geiger can sort of play a role in the rest of the game, because the major thing we noticed from Stray, that Udyr joined fights at the right time and was an absolute beef tank at the front there. Really very difficult to get through it for FlyFam, and now that we are in our final game of our coverage, at least on stream for today, we'll see if Castleberry is able to take down Phoenix 5, or if Phoenix 5 will rise from the ashes from their 1-1 yesterday, their 1-1 thus far today, and see if they can make it into the GSL groups.
Take us into the game, Adam. Let it get this one underway. A couple of other things to talk about. You see Basby on that Aphelios, right? Nice, good scaling. We didn't talk about the other side of Nightstar and Barlow with the lethal combination of Zeri Lulu that if this game goes long enough, they're just gonna take over.
Yeah, you can see Nightstar saying, what an amazing finish to our placements. Let's have a great game. That reads like a chat GPT message of all things, but it is a great finale for both of these teams. As you were mentioning, Zeri Lulu, interesting. Very, very interesting to see that getting picked up here. As Zeri has started to rise in priority once again. Experimental Hexplate is ridiculous on her.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy that this champion is actually still pretty okay. Against all odds, you can't keep the Zeri down, right? And the pentakill machine, not so much anymore, but will certainly have an impact in this game. And you just take a look at the damage profiles that these teams are putting together. It's a little bit leaned toward the way of Castleberry, and I really, really like that. They just seem to have more damage. I'm interested to see how much damage is Shorter Ace going to be able to squeeze out of his Vi. Shorter Ace did play Vi prior against the Blonde Madorma team. Their name escapes me right now.
It's Doomed?
Guys. It's Doomed, yes. Did play against It's Doomed, went 1-1 and 14, was seemingly everywhere. Was only able to deal 10k damage in a 32-minute game, and that's with Sundered Sky plus Black Cleaver. And if this game goes 32 minutes, guess what? That's not going to cut it.
Especially when you look at the opposite side. I mean, it's a relatively squishy team from Castleberry, but if you're doing 14k damage to them, you probably end up with more than just a single kill. Geiger, oh my goodness.
Geiger is getting run down. This champion is not okay. Udyr is just constantly able to put on pressure against tanks and non-tanks alike. Obviously, Gnar kind of a hybrid in that sense, but everybody tells me, oh, Udyr's really good into tanks, but guess what? He's just good into friggin' everybody, man.
The interesting part about this Gnar on the top side is, in some ways, Gnar is a Geiger counter. You just keep waiting until it starts beeping, the nuclear radiation warms up, and all of a sudden he goes Mega, able to potentially turn the fight against Sandflame. But for now, Sandflame, much like we sort of saw in the Ole Miss versus Phoenix 5 game, very comfortable playing those tanks. Of course, this time, it's an Udyr versus the Nautilus that was picked up last time. Not very good on the Nautilus. We'll put it that way. It did not go well for Sandflame. We'll see if they can turn their fates this time around with a champion that probably has a lot of experience with Sand and Flames, considering Udyr's an outdoorsman and turns into a frickin' Phoenix.
Yeah, and listen, they're picking their namesake champion, right?
Yeah.
Phoenix 5 is picking the guy who can go into Phoenix stance. Have you seen any better plot armor? Can you write a better League of Legends story? A little bit of a problem down here is it looks like Detro and Bazby are able to keep the wave on their side with the junglers gravitating toward the bot side of the map, Adam. So we could see something occur in just a little bit. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, we saw it for just a second. Aj taking quite a bit of damage from Lycamos.
Something else to note here, Nightstar starting with the cult, so saying, hey, we know that Aphelios Rakan can't really do much to us in those early phases. It's really just level 1 that you have to be worried about, and Lulu provides all the utility that you need to sort of stay alive through that lane. Nightstar going to be just a little bit richer coming out of this laning phase due to that.
Just a little bit. We're going to see Shorter Ace take a back down here. So, not going to see those jungle fireworks that I was really hoping to see. Looks like the Scuttler got picked up for Castle. That means that Shorter Ace, it is time to make the Nomad's way to the top side. Maybe, at least trade those Scuttle Crabs. Castle also on a back, headed to the top side as well. So, I just want fights to happen, man. Like, I know that's not these teams' style with the comps that they've drafted, but come on, I want to see some action.
You want to see some action here. You want to see that passion come through, especially when it is your GSL lives on the line. Hey, you get tournament realm accounts off of that, and that's kind of cool. This is the game for tournament realm accounts.
Yeah. Geiger getting a nice stun onto Sandflame. Sandflame is forced to ghost, but Wind Becomes Lightning does land. It was a good flash by Castle. Can they chase down Sandflame? Shorter Ace coming to try to help his boy out. Sandflame kiting toward him. They're going to stun up Castle, deal a lot of damage to him. They're getting pretty low, but it's first blood going over to Geiger, but he gets traded back quickly by Shorter Ace. And now it's a 1v1. Shorter Ace just walloping onto Geiger. Geiger hops over the wall, but he's caught between a rock and a hard place. Teleport coming in from Sandflame, and it looks like Geiger will get chased out. Just need a little bit of damage, just 1 tick of damage, and he realized I just gave Sandflame the kill.
Yeah, the glad kitty there just being like, yeah, I'm in trouble there. Immediately, though, picks up those Swifties and a Cull, so that first blood will go to good use. Geiger going to try and continue to stay ahead in the CS department, get as much gold out of this as possible, because realistically, in this lane, it's not going to be that much action as push comes to shove. Geiger just wants to try and farm up, be as strong as possible. Castle and Shorter Ace are both still on this top side. Only 2 of the grubs picked up by Shorter Ace.
Yeah, couldn't pick up that last one because Aj was able to get a first move. Lycamos had to take it back, had to TP in. That does mean Castle is going to be able to at least pick up the scraps here. However, he is going to get it, but he could be in trouble for it as Lycamos is here first now. Castle on top of Sandflame, but takes so much damage. They can't trade back onto him. Getting caught out. Was it worth the grub?
Probably. At the end of the day, you want to prevent the 6 stack at the very least. At the most they can get now is 5, so Castle will pay the price. Geiger is just going to get a solo kill.
Yep, the Geiger counter is going off. I can't. I thought that sounded much better in my head. But Geiger picking up his second kill. This means Aj is going to take a lot of damage here, getting rooted up. So things going back and forth finally. Starting to see that action that I so badly wanted to see. And in the end, after 6 minutes of play and kills going everywhere, Adam, nobody has a discernible lead.
Yeah, it's pretty even thus far. Castle of Castleberry's namesake, I suppose, has had a little bit of a struggle, just both times going to the top side, both times getting collapsed on. But the Xinjiao still going to have so much value in the later stages of the game. I think the biggest difference with the new items that have come through is that Xinjiao has more late game durability of note. Titanic Hydra, of course, despite being nerfed on his first patch out, is still very strong on Xinjiao. You're able to build a lot of these bruiser items and stay alive alive forever in the jungle. Geiger, Narbar's almost
God.
there.
Yeah, and he takes so much damage. Here comes Gnar. He misses the stun, and this is bad news for Geiger. Geiger knocks him into the wall, but guess what? Much like when he was getting chased down by the Vi, he doesn't have many places to go. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, Barlow getting knocked up, taking a lot of damage. Polymorph is there. Basby gets ignited. Nightstar trying to keep everybody away from Barlow. Castle here to make sure that nobody goes down.
Level 6.
And ultimately, guess what? Nothing is going on, but Castle is ready to go. Knockup coming in, but Detro is low. Detro is dead. Nightstar able to pick up that kill. Castle super low, and now getting in there is Shorter Ace. Shorter Ace got polymorphed, and Shorter Ace goes down. Nightstar picking up a second kill. This Zeri could be getting mighty scary.
And even as we panned away from top lane, Geiger able to sort of win out on that trade. Sandflame doesn't have any mana. This should be a turnaround here. Geiger has the bar.
Geiger needs to get there fast enough. Oh my god, the chase down happening, but Sandflame able to walk out. Meanwhile, Lycamol has got a solo kill on Aj, diving the turret. That is,
you know what?
Really rough.
We're replaying. We're going for the replay.
We gotta see what happened here. Oh, he was just low. He just walked up to him.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that was a nice flash Q there. Yep. Yeah, all right. Pretty simple.
Simple stuff. We've got the tech. We can go for replays.
Yeah.
One directed cam lets me down.
This does mean that Lycamos is going to be able to get a plate here. And Ash is going to lose out on this wave because he does not have teleport available to him. That is rough stuff for the mid laner of Castleberry.
Sandflame.
Yeah, things would be getting rough for Sandflame, but Geiger couldn't pick up his boomerang. He's getting the speed up, but it's not quite enough.
Yeah, just barely not enough damage in the tank. That's what you get when you start with these Swifties plus Cull. You don't have damage. Granted, you are reliant on those hyper procs over and over again, but Sandflame just enough to be able to survive that one. Udyr's base stats just a little bit too much to cut through. Thus far, though, as you mentioned, dead even between Phoenix 5 and Castleberry. As this game progresses, this Zeri is going to start to become an issue because she's 2-0 already. Detro face checking into it, and Nightstar says, hey, I'm going to deal 300 damage to you. That's a It's a good amount of damage.
It's a non-zero amount of damage.
Non-zero amount of damage. That's what I was going for, yeah.
Yeah, you know, it is certainly a number that's got a couple zeros behind it, but as long as you got a number in front of it, you're pretty okay with that. Detro is just walking up and taking, you know, a couple of strays here. The good news for him is Nightstar's not that strong right now.
Yeah, despite the 2 kills, it's still early game Zeri. The Cull hasn't popped it either, so that Stimmy hasn't come through in terms of the economy. Looking at the items, yeah, it's basically your 9-minute Zeri build that you expect. You've got tier 2 boots, you've got your Noon Quiver, and that's all you can really ask for. Nightstar, curious to see what the item choice is, if it is that experimental Hex Plate, because that has been sort of the item that's kept Zeri in relevance.
Yeah, and, you know, you build that, you get super relevant. As you said, you're just really, really strong.
You pop your ult, and you're just crazy.
Yeah, you pop your ult, you stay alive, you deal a bunch of damage, and guess what? It's like Zeri never left.
Granted, Zeri has left for a little bit.
Yeah, Zeri's been gone for a little bit of time. Not
quite the pentakilling machine, as you said.
No, I haven't. Actually, did Zeri get a pentakill recently? Any like tier 3 player higher? I feel like I've seen that. Basby in a lot of trouble, getting polymorphed, getting taken down. Detro roamed away and then watches his AD carry die. I mean, we knew that was coming from a mile away. Once they all lined up, we were like, yeah, this is gonna be a clean dive.
Yeah, and I mean, Barlow did a great job of tanking that turret, knowing full well that the Lulu was going to be far enough to just step out. Still had that ultimate in the back pocket if necessary. Yes, it is the Zeri ultimate expended, but at what cost? The rest of the grubs. And now, Castle's sacrifice on the top side for that singular grub ends up having value because you get half as many Twitch chatters showing up.
Yeah, but how much value does it actually get? Does it get that much? No, Detro is just getting... Oh my god, the damage is coming in from Nightstar. Shorter Ace did get hit with that Wind Becomes Lightning and is going to get chased down. Do Castle and Geiger want it, but the slows coming out. Man, that is just so oppressive.
For the time being, things slow down just a little bit. Castleberry sitting on a nice little, I won't call it a castle, but maybe a mansion of 1,400 gold right now. They can build up towards that castle as time goes on. Then again, it is very much active in terms of the gold difference right now. Barlow just going to walk down. Nightstar's coming back with a static shiv.
Yeah, and Detro is pretty low. Barlow is
Uh-oh.
coming in on the flank. All he has to do is get that slow. He
Teleport?
couldn't quite
Wow.
get it, but the Ignite goes down. Barlow
Both
able to get the kill.
teleports.
And here comes teleports, as you mentioned. Bazby super low. Meanwhile, the top side, Sandflame gets ganked, gets taken down. Lycamaz shows up. Meanwhile, Shorter Ace is just doing what he can to drive them away, but Lycamaz dies in the bottom lane on the teleport. Give a third kill over to Nightstar.
Yeah, Nightstar's starting to become a problem. We can replay that too. So yeah, Lycamaz just teleports in and oops. And then we can replay the top lane fight too. It's just a perfectly executed dive on a Sandflame.
Yeah, Shorter Ace was just a little too slow on it. Geiger did burn his flash, but luckily Geiger was the one tanking. So when Shorter Ace drops that cease and desist, Castle doesn't take any damage. He's fine. He's like, yeah, you know, this turret ain't on me.
Yeah, this is where I wish I had split screen capabilities. Could have watched both at the same time. No
Yeah,
need
that's
to
all right.
turn back time. But, you know, it is what it is. Still got a lot of game left to go here for both of these teams. Geiger, of note, has opened up a 900 gold lead on the top side of the map, which is really good to see because we saw how oppressive the Udyr can be if it gets ahead. Sandflame hasn't been allowed to do so.
Detro going deep for this one. Flash, Ignite, expended. Nightstar super low and will fall, but it goes over to Detro. Sandflame is here. Barlow is low, just trying to make sure that he chases Bazby away. Geiger getting engaged on by multiple members here. He is run out of space. Barlow just trying to dance around. He's like, hey, listen, I'm nice and tasty. Don't give me to Bazby. Shorter Ace will pick that one up himself. 3-1-3. Already has the Sundered Sky in the inventory.
Yeah, Barlow got sent to the moon there with a big old punch to the face. Couple kills for Shorter Ace on a great engage from Detro. And now Bazby, doing what Aphelios can do, has that singular Twitch chatter showing up at the tower, but Red-White just shoves down turret so quickly. Is scared of the re-engage from Nightstar, who has the ultimate backup and available, but doesn't get as much movement speed. Oh.
Uh-oh.
Laser.
He's going to stop the recall there. Drops his ultimate as well. This could be a Zeri moment for Nightstar. Bazby trying to get out. He's just a little far away to deal damage, but Detro does die. Nightstar, good job sticking with it. Picks up his fourth.
Really good answer there. Got stuck backing on a ward. We talked about how you got to be careful of the Zeri coming in, and it still doesn't matter. Nightstar becoming a threat to society here. Up 1,600 gold here. We'll get this full tower as well. Oh, actually, 4 plates for now as Shorter Race is on the bottom side. More fighting. They just keep going now.
As well as Lycamaz too, and guess what? Nightstar doesn't have many places to go. But he can jet set radio his way out, and it looks like he will. But he gets targeted by the cease and desist. Under the turret is Shorter Ace, and Barlow can't save him. And Barlow is low. Barlow is dead to the tether. Lycamaz picks that one up too.
Yeah, you talked about how there wasn't any action in the early game. Here comes the action. Each and every fight just goes one way, and then it goes the opposite way. It's like a seesaw between these two teams with how much they're going back and forth. Rift Herald will be started up by Castle on this top side, but Detro's up here to potentially relent. The objective trades going back and forth. It was one dragon picked up as well by Phoenix 5. They should be able to pick up the second one, but now Aj in trouble.
Yep, and Bazby dumping his ultimate on top of him, rooting him up. Should be but a formality. Aj getting enough shielding, though, and he is able to live. And now Barlow looking for the turn because Geiger is here. Yeah, all they got to do is slow up Bazby, and he hasn't. Bazby gets blown out of existence. Now, Geiger engaged on super low because he's Mini-Gnar, but he survives with the shielding. Castle in the thick of things knocks up Shorter Ace out of his queue, and now Castle just makes sure that nobody else on his team is going to go down. Look at the low health bars, but unable to convert our Phoenix 5.
Oh man, it could have been so many more kills going the opposite way, but great awareness from Castle to make sure Shorter Ace didn't get into that backline. Both Barlow, Castle, and Geiger were all within kill range of a Shorter Ace there. Unfortunately, isn't able to convert on any of those. And a couple more kills in that Vi's pockets means that the Zeri can't play the game. If Vi can be the one to deal 60-70% damage to Nightstar, the game's doomed.
Yeah, that's exactly what we talked about earlier, right? Is Shorter Ace going to be able to convert this damage over? Listen, 4-1-4. We can't see the damage charts right now, but we know that Shorter Ace is certainly making an impact in this one. Somebody who hasn't been making that much of an impact, honestly, it's got to be Sandflame. Yeah, he's 2-3-2, but he's brought the CS back together a little bit, but it just felt like that he hasn't really made that much of an impact yet. Drake getting secured there.
Oh.
Detro. Castle's just on the wrong side of the tracks here. He doesn't have many places to go. He's already burned his flash. He gets the ultimate from Barlow. He gets charmed up with Detro with a nice double knockup to follow it up. Do they have the roots to get there? Baz B forced off. He's down to about half HP, but Leica Moss is shielding. Gonna help out. Nightstar a little too far forward. He's got to try to kite this one out. He sidesteps Detro. Can he take him out? He can't. Baz B able to get enough damage to take him down.
Oh my goodness. Baz B is starting to come alive as well. This Aphelios on one item is dishing out damage equal to that of the Zarya on the opposite side. It's just that there's healthier members on your side. No Lulu ultimate, no wild growth to potentially save Nightstar from that sticky situation. Might have had flash available, but no real opportunity to do so. And Baz B has come to play here, wants to force Phoenix 5 across the line.
Yeah, now it's Phoenix 5, the ones with a slight gold lead, 17 minutes in. As you said earlier, Adam, like a seesaw, like a pendulum, they're just going back and forth, are these two teams. And it feels like these fights are close enough where nobody's really breaking anything open. Geiger went mini as soon as he went in on Sandflame. Took a lot of damage for it. Mid turret gonna go down. Split that gold between Baz B and Lycamalls, the members you wanted on.
Yeah, something else to note is 2 culls came through from this side of Castleberry. This gold lead could be bigger for the side of Phoenix 5, if not for just economics at that stonks, one could say. We'll have to see if they're able to sort of capitalize on this momentum that they've got right now, though, because as we said, the pendulum, back and forth it goes. Aj has been relatively quiet thus far on this Hui, but we know how strong Hui can be in the late game, painting a landscape of absolute destruction with these ultimates in the late game will be their goal, because they're the only source of magic damage as well. Barlow isn't really going to be doing much. You get a little bit from Zeri, but it's all going to be on Aj to sort of cut through the armor stacking that could come through from someone like Sandflame.
Let's see how this game develops, because guess what, Adam? The gold lead has been cut once again. But it was a small lead, and now it's going the other way, and now it's going one way. And the thing is, it feels like the teams are just kind of feeling each other out for right now. No objectives available on the map. Nightstar at level 11. Rift Herald getting burnt here on the bottom side. You know what that means? It's time for Twitch chat to hit the scene. We're going to get this turn to about half. Sandflame is coming down to match. It looks like they might be able to get this, but that means an engagement in the jungle. Barlow is the one who is targeted. Nightstar is fine for right now, but Sandflame gets on top of him. The charm is out as well. Nightstar completely sequestered from the rest of his team. And now it's time for Castle and Geiger to try to get out of there. They are on the wrong side of the tracks. Castle is going to meet Shorter Ace, but is he tanky? Is he healthy enough? Tries to knock him back, but he gets mobbed by many members of the Order of the Phoenix. Geiger is going to come down to be able to clean up that turret, but that is a convincing fight win for Phoenix 5.
Yeah, once again, they're able to find the kills, but Castleberry able to take down that objective on the bottom side of the map. Lycoma should be able to equalize it out on the flip side. Geiger, that was rude of Sandflame there to stop that reset, but nonetheless, it's back and forth. This momentum is so... It can be given away at a moment's notice. I'm losing my words.
Yeah,
Rusty cast.
I mean, listen,
nonetheless.
Listen, these late game AD carries, I mean, just take a look at the gold for a second here. Like, look at the items that they're on, too. These late game AD carries, 8,600 gold apiece. The leaders for their respective teams by a 25 gold difference. I mean, these are the ones who are going to be leading the charge. And honestly, Castleberry has to do a better job of protecting Nightstar. Like, that was so disjointed in the jungle there, and they couldn't get back to him. They need to make sure that he is still very well protected. Madam President in the form of Zeri in this game.
Yeah, and you look at sort of the win conditions for both sides as
Nightstar.
No. Oh, no.
Oh, going over the wall with him is Shorter Ace, cut off from the rest of his team, but Baz B able to do damage from downtown with those green-white guns. Castle is going to go in. He's going to get knocked up by Detro. Here comes the teleport from the Hui, but Hui not able to make an impact in this fight. Doesn't mean that Sandflame has time to just do his thing up on the top side while the rest of Phoenix 5 try to be nuisance. Castle getting pretty low. Shorter Ace taking a lot of damage. He's the one they engage on, but Detro is going to get a charm onto one. Not anymore. Shorter Ace has to flash out of there, and Castle is so low, and Lycamalls is able to snipe him out. Sandflame came in on the teleport, but he's low, and he's going to die. And now could be time for a counterpunch for Castleberry, but it finally looks like the teams are not able to do anything more.
Yeah, Nightstar's positioning has been something to be concerned about here. Keeps getting caught out, and granted was able to take Shorter Ace on a little trip there, right into the waiting arms of the Wild Growth, but it's another Dragon going to the side of Phoenix 5. They continue to eke out minute advantages. 1 inch at a time, they are pushing themselves back into a favorable position. Now up 1,500 gold. Castleberry need to ensure that they're playing to their win conditions here. And I want to look at win conditions because Aj has been quiet, hasn't really been allowed to participate in a lot of these plays, but also hasn't died in the last, 15 minutes of this game. Got caught out once, and since then has just been slowly but surely scaling up on the Hui. Once we get to that second item to expect, it might be something to keep an eye on.
This is a problem for Lycom as he flashes away, but I don't think he's going to be able to get away. It's a big shutdown for Nightstar. That is massive, and now Castleberry can look for more. They can look for the Baron if they want to. They're able to defend their vision here. Detro just getting forced off. They're going to lose some of their vision that they worked so hard to get is Phoenix 5. Nightstar wants to find a way in. It just looks like they're itching for a fight, but they have no engage tool because Geiger's in Mininar.
And you can see the vision there between these two teams. They're ripping it.
Yeah, they are ripping this. 5v4 for right now. Lycom is up in 13 seconds. It has no teleport available either, Adam.
This is scary.
Shorter Ace. Yeah, Shorter Ace looking for a way in here. They're just doing damage to this Baron. Geiger now going to hit Mega Form. Does not have that. Does not have the ultimate available, I don't believe.
Might have it.
He might have it. I'm not sure. This is a spectator bug right now, I'm sure. As this Baron gets down to about 7,000 HP and the reset comes through. They're not able to get the job done. And now the inside track for Phoenix 5 as Sandflame's trying to stop some backs.
Sandflame's just being a nuisance. Actually stops all the backs there. And now, is this the opportunity that they wanted? Because look at mid lane. They're just pushing it down.
Yeah, Bazby and Lycom is going to get this mid inner turret down. Going to get a lot of gold. Detro is in the middle of everybody, but he's scared. He's polymorphed and he's dead. They lose Detro for a turret that they already secured.
Yeah, Detro just sort of lost their mind there. Walks right in, and all of a sudden there's 4 members of Castleberry around. That's not the play you wanted to look for if you're Detro. Granted, only 20 seconds on that death timer, should be back up and available by the time any more fights happen, but it's an unforced error there coming through, benefiting the side of Castleberry. Nightstar once again picking up another kill for themselves, looking at the gold in the inventory, 1,600. It's close between them, but that could push them over the edge for that third item.
Well, guess what? Bazby has 1,900 in the pocket as well, but yeah, you're right. This is going to be 3 items area before you see a 3-item Aphelios. And, you know, he's going to have to get there pretty quickly. And that's going to be pretty tough. Geiger going right back in on Lycom again. And Lycom is taking a lot of damage as Barlow is showing up. You just got to slow him up just a little bit. Geiger is going to flash forward. They're going to look to take out Lycom. He's healing as much as he can, but he can't do it. And Shorter Ace is now alone. He's got to try to get back to the safety of his turret, but he got knocked up and he dies too. A huge turnaround there for Castleberry, as now they have their sights set on the Baron.
And Aj picks up that shutdown as well. 600 bonus gold, or 600 total gold, sorry, going into the pockets of Aj there. That's exactly what you want out of your Hui. You want this Hui to be relevant as the game goes on. Bazby, Detro, Sandflame have to make a miracle happen around this Baron, but they've got no smite. They have to go for the fight.
Yeah, Bazby's got red-white, though, which means there's only one time that you can fight. It's a 5v3. Baron down to about 2,000 HP, but they will peel off Castle Baron for this team 25 minutes into the game.
Yeah, it seems as if they finally make an offensive maneuver. They've been castling the king for a little too long, and instead they decide it's time to go on the offensive. They pin the side of Phoenix 5 up on that top side. It was a blind jump from Geiger into the bush, and Lycom was caught napping. Barlow able to pull in Shorter Ace as well with the ultimate. Just pops the Wild Growth and says, hey, you're not killing me. And all of a sudden, it becomes a fork, and Baron is the prize.
Yeah, now we're starting to see the gold lead swing once again. Castleberry up 1,500 gold, but still so much game to be played. But Geiger says, hey, I'm ready to run you down. Level 14 to level 13. Meganar coming up soon, but he can't actually chase down Sandflame.
Yeah, Sandflame just a little bit too quick at this point. 2 armor items complete, so it takes a lot for Geiger to cut through that massive armor pool coming through from Udyr. Dragon is the next objectives on the table in about 30 seconds, but if Geiger's just able to continue this pressure on the top side, Sandflame isn't allowed to teleport back because that's a tier 2 turret gone. You're losing more gold around the map. At what cost? Soul point? Will we get to the point in the game where Soul becomes relevant? Yet to be determined.
Well, it also matters who's going to blink first, Adam, because you see Phoenix 5 has the river control. So Geiger's going to have to be the first one to teleport unless Castleberry can wrestle this control away. You can see they're at least trying to get in there, but you see lack of vision as Detro will head back with the squad, get back into the pit. Lycamall's running point here. Geiger has made it all the way down. The Drake has been secured, but Castle is the one who's getting engaged on. Teleport coming in. Let's see if Sandflame can join this fight and do anything. The redemption comes out, forces him away. That's going to be mid-turret because you mentioned that inside track coming through for Castleberry, using their Baron very well, forcing Phoenix 5 to go all the way around, which means they're going to lose another turret on top of it. Geiger getting in there, not able to do much more. So everybody else forced off. Again, I just like what they're doing with this Baron. Geiger on top of Lycamall's on the side. Detroit trying to help him out, but Lycamall's down to half. Nightstar going way in for that one, but he is biting off more than he can chew. He flashes out, but he falls anyway. A shutdown going over to Sandflame. Bazb and Detroit are low. Shorter Ace goes in, but Bazb has half HP. Good snipe from Aj as they're able to pick up another kill. That one onto Shorter Ace, and the inhibitor turret falls. The inhibitor will fall as well. Castleberry flexing their muscles down to the mid lane, and now they're going to rotate over to the bottom inhibitor turret. Adam, what a Baron power play this has turned out to be.
Yeah, Castle Baron, as you were saying, they put the side of Phoenix 5 into just such a rough position. As Zugzwang, they can't make a right call here. Castle's go back in.
Bazb has to flash away. The charms are coming out. Geiger down to about half HP. They don't have a whole lot of damage right now because Nightstar's not there, but they found some onto Sandflame, and Aj is able to pick him up. And now Lycamall's is back, and that means Castleberry knows it's time to head out of there. Lycamall's wants to chase him down, and Castle said, hey, listen, I'm ready to go in. Gets taken down to half HP, and finally the action stops, but the base is in tatters for Phoenix 5.
Yeah, Aj has come alive as well, picks up that one shutdown, picks up the Horizon Focus, and now is hitting like an absolute truck. This Hui is scary to deal with. Despite being still slightly behind the Karma in terms of items, you're going to see that reset come through. Very likely the third item to be completed. Yes, will definitely be the third item to be completed. And for Castleberry, it seems as if they've been tempting the side of Phoenix 5 for so long, giving them the low-hanging fruit that could still be available, but the berries are nightshade. You can't eat them because the Phoenix is starting to go back into its dormant state 1,000 years before it can potentially revive itself, or at least until Summer OQs.
And this is the opportunity for Castleberry to really put the boot on the throat. We'll see if Phoenix 5 is going to try to defend these turrets because they have to send Lycamall's bottom. He does have teleport to be able to join any potential fight, but guess what? That mid lane is unattended to right now, Adam. They are going to get pulled in too many different directions, and it looks like Phoenix 5 has realized that. So they give up the top inner turret. More gold into the pockets of Castleberry. They might not even spend them. It looks like they're looking for a kill shot.
Yeah, and of all things, it's the Grubs that are saving the side of Phoenix 5 here because they didn't give over more than one. And that is... If they had Void Mites, this game would be over. Castleberry would be walking away into the GSL groups, but Shorter Ace, look at this flank angle they're coming through from. Trying to find a little lurk play, but won't be able to find anything quite yet. Forced off the angle. And now, with a minute until Baron, a triple inhib is just the knife in the back here for Phoenix 5. They need to try and hold the line one way or another.
Yeah, I feel like it's about time that they need to go because these minion waves are starting
to
pour into their base. You know this inhibitor is likely to go down, and it looks like they're saying, hey, we just want to farm this out. Shorter Ace is still looking for that flank angle like you talked about. He's close to Nightstar, but he knows that he can't go on top of him. Shorter Ace just can't do anything, and this is the problem with Vi when you reach this point in the game.
You have to find access to that backline, but everyone is stacked on top of Nightstar. If you're able to jump on top of him, if you're able to click the right target, of all things, you still got to deal with the fact that 4 members will shut you down immediately. Vi is starting to lose its efficacy in this game. In 10 seconds until Baron, there's absolutely no way that they're going to be able to find a way in. They're just giving this one up and potentially playing for Soul.
Yeah, and the worst part is Phoenix 5 can't even get Soul, right? And even if you get it, I don't think it's going to help you that much. If you only give up shorter ace, right, and you're somehow, some way able to hold the line, sure, but 3 inhibitors down, the entire enemy team wearing purple. I think this is Castleberry's a game to lose. They're going to get this back in. They're going to head straight to the Drake, and they're going to look for the victory march. They might not even head for the Drake, to be honest. They might just look for the victory march.
Yeah, they've got 3 inhibitors down. There's no way that you can even go towards this dragon. Of course, they're going to go over there just to sort of dot their I's, cross their T's. But still, if even 1 or 2 members from Phoenix 5 get taken out around this dragon, the game's over. And look at this. They're just running down mid lane. The 5-stack has come to play. Nightstar lagging from behind here, but it doesn't matter. All these minions, the doubled up super waves, making sure that this is Castleberry's land to claim here. Their castle was not built upon pillars of salt and pillars of sand. They are living
Vitro, good
La Vida
flank,
Loca.
charms up 3. Aj forced to flash out of there. Geiger, in the front line, just doing what he can, tries to leap forward to do something. Nightstar, still full HP.
Oh, man.
Sandflame goes in. Sandflame goes out because he is dead. Aj on a rampage 5v4 as they're looking for more. Bazb well shielded, but they're running out of real estate here.
Oh.
Bazb's ultimate whiffs. Unable to get any damage there. And here comes what could be the final engagement. Detro, big knockup. Bazb still alive. Nightstar targeted. They found Nightstar. He's low. He's burning away. And he's still alive. But Lycamos takes him out. But Bazb is so low. They lose 1 turret. Lycamos surrounded. He dies. Bazb's the last one standing. And the last bastion finally falls. Castleberry 3-2. See you in the group stage.
Castleberry plant their flag in the ground. They say, we are going to top 16. The 19th seed, who started this off 2-0, lost a couple of games here. They're able to hold the line at the final stand. My goodness, what a game coming through from these two teams. Back and forth, as you mentioned, for so much of this one. And yet, in the end, Castleberry stands strong.
Yeah, wow. I mean, listen, there's a reason why these teams were seated very close to each other. And that's because these teams were very, very evenly matched. And, one team had to win, one team had to lose. And their runs that they had were somewhat difficult, right? Like, Phoenix 5's run. Phoenix 5 dropped 2 games to Ole Miss and dropped a game to Reluminate as well. But then, you take a look on the other side, right? I mean, Castleberry, they also had a pretty rough run. They lost to Winthrop. They lost to Team Fish Taco, but the big thing is the teams that they beat. They beat Wang's Revenge and they beat Lotus. This is a very difficult path, and to go 3-2 out of this path says really a lot about how good this team is.
Yeah, and now that we are officially caught up on all the games,
yeah,
we can talk about how the groups turned out.
Yeah.
And Winthrop.
Do we have groups ready, or
I can pull it up. One sec. I'm gonna stop the recording first. Thanks for joining us. Stay tuned to the Run of the Ref YouTube channel.